Hi, this is Chris Howard, host of Plugged In with Chris Howard. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. With the largest selection of odds on everything from Major League Baseball, NHL, and UFC, and professional golf, BetOnline remains the number one source for all your sports wagering info. In between games, head over to the BetOnline's casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here.
The average person will spend about 92 days of their lifetime on the toilet. Despite the routine nature of the practice, restroom habits are often surrounded by secrecy and even shame. One founder sought to destigmatize the humble throne by introducing Americans to a new way of using the toilet, the bidet. Although bidets have devoted poozers around the whole world, the U.S. has been slow to embrace water as a means of cleanliness. In 2014, Miki Agrawal decided to take the plunge, employing bold advertising, a cheeky sense of humor, and a great product to make bidets mainstream. And that's why this week's On Brand is on Tushy.
We're all jazzed up, nearly having a cow. You want your favorite show, and it's on right now. It's on Brand.
Welcome to On Brand with Jon and Marisa. I'm Jon.
I'm Marisa.
Holy crap, I guess is an appropriate word. Okay, so I don't know what Tushy is. Is that the brand? I'm already coming in so disdained. Just so you know, let's do a quick little peek back into my life. For some reason, I've never been one to respond to like poo-poo pee-pee humor.
I know.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I told Al, I said, John's going to hate this.
Oh, you did? Really?
Yeah, I did.
Aw, I love that you do know me that well.
Are you kidding? Of course I know you.
This is going to be, I already gave Maria a shout out, I think, last week because she's the only one in our chat group that has like the non-Apple phone. Mm-hmm. She's also a big poop lover. Oh. So like she loved to let me, God, she's going to be so embarrassed. I'm telling you this story.
Isn't she like a new bride?
Well,
her husband is going to like...
It's like 4 years ago. Okay, not Maria. Just someone I know that I sat next to it.
We'll call her Diarrhea. She'll like that.
She just loved to tell me when she was going to the bathroom. It was like such a fun thing for her. And I loved, like, she would whisper it. She'd be like, hey, I'm going to go to the bathroom, just so you know. And then she'd be walking down the hall and I'd be like, Maria, have a nice time in the bathroom. Like, she would get so humiliated by it.
That's really funny. It's funny because I'm obviously fine with this type of humor. And we're not going to be extremely scatological here. You know, we're journalists.
It just feels lowbrow. Not your brand, of
no,
course.
Of course.
Tushy, I don't even know, is Tushy the name of your bidet?
The brand of bidet that we use that is kind of like the main bidet in the orbit nowadays.
The main bidet? There's your bidet. Matt Damon movie about bidets. The main bidet.
And you know what is funny? And I tell friends this and they are pretty surprised. I've been with my husband, my handsome hubby David, for 16 years. He's watching sideways behind me with AirPods on.
Massaging himself with one of those curved sticks that look like it was from Shark Tank.
This is a funny episode. Typically, we record during the day. This one is an after bedtime, on brand after dark. So these ones tend to be a little bit more loosey-goosey, maybe a little more silly, maybe on theme for this kind of silly episode. People are always surprised that my handsome hubby, who I've been with for 15 plus years, I have never peed in front of.
What?
Never used the toilet in front of, not even once. Never farted intentionally in front of him. I'm sure I have, maybe by accident, maybe in my sleep, but I am not an open door pee-pee poo-poo person. And I know that is shocking to a lot of the girlfriends that I've told that to.
That's shocking to me. It seems like you guys are, of all the couples I know, you're a very loving, intertwined couple.
Sure.
That seems like you're not modest.
We're not.
You're not PDA people. Like,
no.
I never see you like, you don't like
making out on the couch.
Yeah, when Al and I are watching a movie, we don't look over and you guys are just smooching. Usually David
during
falls asleep.
we were watching the Jim Henson documentary last night. No, we weren't making out during the Jim Henson documentary. Yeah, I have never been somebody who likes to like pee in front of boyfriend. I find that to be very distasteful. I am quite modest. I'm an old-fashioned gal in many ways.
Right.
Whereas David, like if we're in the shower together chatting, you know, something couples do. They'll sometimes take a shower together and chat. He will just like pee like
while you're showering?
Yes.
Like on your legs?
Like nearest.
David nearly pees on your legs? Wow.
Have you ever peed intentionally on my leg?
That's a joke.
He said as a joke, in case the mic didn't pick that up. So we do have a little bit of a difference, maybe. If you had a romantic partner, afterwards, would you pee in front of your romantic partner, or would you close the door?
I would say it's probably the same way I am about peeing in front of strangers. When I was younger, I would get very pee shy in a public bathroom. Like I would have to go into like a stall to pee, or I would just lock up, even if they weren't standing right next to me.
Wow.
The older I get, and I think maybe the looser my bladder is, like I have less reservation about it.
It's more of an emergency.
It's more of a, I can't hold it. So I feel like it would be along those lines. Like maybe in the beginning, you're a little more modest, but like 10, 20 years in, you're like, meh. I would not want to be a partner farter. Like, I don't want to like fart around them or that.
No.
Or poop with the door open.
I
hated that I even just said poop. I hate this episode. Episode 71 is officially my least favorite episode.
I'd be curious to know the listeners what their how can we say it in a way that's not too revolting? Their partner potty preferences. We'll call it that, the triple P.
The triple P.
So send us a message and tell us your partner potty preferences if you and your partner, you go potty in the same room.
I do feel like this will have a lot of opinions.
Probably.
I don't even like
If you go number 2 in front of your partner, you're getting a divorce. And if you think like, oh, we're actually doing really great, like we're really solid, it's a testament to how comfortable we are with each other. Eventually, I don't know if it's next year or the year after or in 20 years, you will separate.
Like, would that be like if you and David were, let's say you were still dating and he was like, babe, come in here, you got to see this. And he's showing you like the log and like he's so.
Never in a million years would I tolerate that.
Would you get him to stop or would you just break up?
I am calling 911, a wellness check. I'm getting in my car. I'm leaving it. I'm not even closing the door. I'm just driving away.
Okay, so you have a very different perspective of this also because you're now a parent of almost 6 years. Mm-hmm. So you would have lived in a feces pee-pee world for quite a long time.
It's definitely, I'm up to my ears, yeah, for sure.
And that just, I know it's a completely separate thing. It's just a necessity in your life now. But like, was there any like
reservations about it?
Yeah, like going into that.
Well, you mean as a modest old-fashioned gal such as myself? Mm-hmm. It's definitely a hump that you have to overcome pretty much out of need, urgent need.
I have known some new moms who have subscribed to like diaper services where they use like, you did that in the beginning.
Yeah, we did cloth diapers and we would have just a big bag of turd-filled diapers sitting on our front porch in the hot sun for 4 hours until the truck came. Boy, that would be a place to work. I tell you, the cloth diaper washing facility.
No offense if any of our listeners, I don't like to offend anybody or work at a poo-poo factory, but when you were doing your thing, I was like, maybe you're doing that spray, poopery.
Yeah.
But no, I guess that wouldn't have been really any better.
I don't think that's really part of it.
Anything in the bathroom, man.
It's tough. It makes people a little nervous, bathroom stuff.
I do think that the bidet is an interesting thing to explore because I do think it has become popular enough that a lot of people swear by it, but it's still new enough that a lot of people are unsure of it.
Absolutely. And Jon, we have had a bidet, a Tushy brand bidet, since 2017. Have you ever used it?
No. I've never used it once. I haven't turned it on. I forget that it's there. Plus, now you've got that baby thing. I'm already like fighting with that. Like, there's like a tiny little seat on top of the big seat. There's like all these things I have to touch if I'm like, it's too much.
It's just like the tiny seat is like inset on the lid. So like, there's no reason why you would have to interact with it at all.
I need one of those grabbers, like those trigger grabbers, so I can like lift that up and like move things around in there. I don't want to grab. I don't know how. You've never given me a lesson on the bidet, so maybe after this episode, I'll start bidet in it.
Have you ever used a bidet in general?
Never. I like the idea of it, but I've never used one.
I think for this episode, we should pause at some point halfway through.
I'm not going to go wash my butt.
And you're going to go wash your butt and come back and just report.
It's too late. I know what a wash... Here, okay. We've just come back and I've just used the bidet. Oh my God. I feel so clean. I can't wait to learn about the history of this. I do think the history is going to be interesting because I have a feeling we're going to go to like ancient Greece or something. Like,
well, we might.
We're going somewhere far for this.
We might. I'm interested to dig into your skepticism and your fear of the bidet, and I think you're not alone in America.
I think my biggest fear is I'm just worried that first squirt's going to be real cold.
It's a bit cold, but I tell you, on a hot day, oh, it's great. Cools you right to your core.
Now, I know there's someone sitting here that hasn't said a word, but I do not know his preference, but I would be shocked if Alistair did not love a bidet.
Alistair, would you care to weigh in?
I was also very hesitant,
Mm-hmm.
and I was given a bidet as a gift from Marissa's mom, Bobo.
Wait, I didn't get a bidet. We usually always get the same gifts. What did I get?
Well, she had an extra one,
Oh, okay.
and it's incredible. I recommend it to everybody. Not everybody. Everyone I meet.
And he's single.
But I have given bidets as gifts to a couple friends.
I haven't gotten one. You guys all want me to use a bidet, and I've never been given a bidet.
Yeah, I must have gotten lost in the mail.
Wow. Yeah, but that does not surprise me that Alistair would enjoy a...
I mean, you have a habit of like being given gifts and like never like opening them or using them.
No. It just takes me months. I'm
I
trying...
am waiting for you to book your appointment with the psychic.
Oh, right. That is... Okay, so bidets. It's 1822.
Oh my gosh,
Richard Bidet is walking down the street. He steps in a puddle, splashes up on his butt.
He's never felt cleaner.
Never
How
felt
did you
cleaner.
know? Okay, so maybe we've been saying bidet this whole time and people are like, I don't know what a bidet is.
Good point.
Bidets have evolved over the years, but a modern bidet will either be its own kind of vessel that has a nozzle that sprays your booty, your jumblies to get them squeaky clean, or an attachment to your toilet that has a sprayer for your little stinky bits.
Yeah,
And,
that's the weird ones that where you have to. There's a whole separate device that seems crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like I'm pooping over here, and then I have to get up, like move over to a smaller thing, sit back down. It's like, what are we doing? Go on.
So there's a long history of how folks have cleaned up after using the bathroom. So long before the bidet, ancient Greeks are said to have used small pieces of clay or stones to wash up.
Didn't I just say
Your
we were going to go to
keisters.
ancient Greece?
You did. Ancient Romans used a piece of sponge on a long stick, a sponge that was shared by the entire community.
Oh my gosh. Did you ever see that show? Like, I forget what it was called. It was like one of those, like, once TLC got real rough and they had a show like Cheapest Person on Earth. And it would be like
Extreme couponer.
It was along those
Yeah.
lines, but it was like one family's thing was to like, they would only use like 4 squares of toilet paper
my
a year.
God.
And it was just like, oh, or they would reuse like a wash rag or something.
That's horrible.
Anyway.
Native Americans used twigs, dry grass, even oyster or clam shells, and early North American settlers.
Poor clam.
Oh no, my family, where am I going? Oh, it's so much worse than I ever imagined.
I'll give you a pearl instead of using me.
Early North American settlers used corn cobs to tidy up their bottom bits.
Now that I have heard of.
You ever
That-
floss your ass crack with a corn cob?
That seems painful. I guess if you have freshly eaten it and it's still a little soft.
You eat the corn first. Actually, I didn't even think about that. Do
You
eat
thought
the
it was
corn
like with the
with
wait,
the kernels?
Did they use it with the kernels? I assumed it was always eaten.
They mustn't have.
No, because you eat it because it would get in the bits. God, I hate this episode. I want to die.
So, needless to say, the bidet is a significant upgrade to all of these methods. The history of bidets traces back to 17th century France. So, it is thought that the French royal family's furniture maker, a man by the name of Christophe de Rossiers,
Wow.
thank you, invented the bidet when he came up with the idea of combining a small wash basin with a wooden stool. So the user would have to straddle the basin to use it, which gave the appearance of riding a horse, hence the name bidet, which is actually the French word for pony.
Oh, that's cute.
Would you rather ride a pony or a bidet? I honestly can't imagine you using either.
Either one. They both sound terrible. I mean, I'm way too big for a pony, and I'm too scared of horses, so a bidet it is.
Have you never ridden a horse?
No.
I would give anything to go ride a horse with you.
I mean, listen.
Me at sunset, wine tasting in Calabasas. Let's do it.
We get a million listeners, I'll ride a horse and
You'll
use a bidet.
Buy a horse.
Buy a horse.
Bidets were popular with the French aristocratic class. Napoleon even had a silver-lined bidet that he brought around the world during his travels. This was also a time when full-body bathing happened around once a week. So the bidet became a way to clean up the stinkier parts between full-body baths.
Wait, no one was taking a full body bath up until this point?
Once a week, people were taking full-body baths because it was like a whole thing, you know? So like you would save that once a week.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't know that baths were like that, like rare.
Well, the water, you probably have to like boil the pots of water because there's no like
right.
plumbing.
Right.
Yeah. So
No
this
plumbing.
is not a comfortable time. I don't even see you as a bather.
I don't have a bath, but this also seems like I would. I don't know if I'd get into it, but it seems like where they would have maybe like a community bath where you go and there's a bunch of people lounging around a large tub.
Well, these are like French aristocrats. So like they have people to do everything. I mean, they have people to like button up their little buttons, tie their shoes, wipe their booties, truly. That was like the highest position in the court was the booty wiper of like the royalty.
No, it wasn't. You're just saying that for the pod.
Absolutely was.
That was the highest position.
Yes, it was the most intimate position, like in service of the royals. And so that was like the highest position. And did you know, we're getting a bit scatological. That is why it's called stool, because it was like a stool that they would use like to poop into.
No,
like
I
a chamber
didn't.
pot.
I'm learning a lot.
This is if you're like eating a big hot bowl of oatmeal during this episode, you might pause it and wait until like you're driving with your children.
The new NBA and MLB season is in full swing, and BetOnline has you covered with the best odds and biggest promotions and live in-game betting on all your favorite teams. Head to BetOnline today to stay updated on all the action. BetOnline, the game starts here.
So then in the 1800s, when indoor plumbing became more popular, the bidet, it had previously just been like in the bedroom because there's no plumbing. Bidet is just a basin with water, and a toilet is just like a chamber pot, like another bucket. It was just kind of a 2-bucket system next to the bed.
Right.
So now everything kind of starts to move into the bathroom. From France, the popularity of the bidet as a high society symbol spread to Western Europe, much of Asia, the Middle East, and even Latin America. And the modern bidet seat that most people are familiar with was actually designed by an American inventor named Arnold Cohen, known as Mr. Bidet, back in the 1960s. What a claim to fame.
Well, that's fun. Is that on his tombstone?
I think it is on his tombstone. Cohen's design was licensed to a company in Japan, and after several iterations, became the now ubiquitous Toto washlet. Do you know the Toto washlet?
I don't even know what you're saying.
So it's a very high-end Japanese bidet toilet. I guess like there's an episode of Kardashians where like Kylie Jenner is like shopping for like they're like $3,000. It's like have you ever seen like one of these super fancy Japanese toilets? It has like 75 buttons. It's like a fan. It's air. It's heat. It's wind. It's Starbucks. It's a macchiato. It's a frap. It's everything you want, and it's there. Probably the most like famous high-end bidet brand. America, however, they've all been bidet skeptics, yourself included.
Yeah. I feel like I didn't even hear about bidets until I was a full-grown man.
Until you made it out to California, the land of fruits and nuts.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone was real eager to get a jet of water shot up their ass here.
Yeah, I definitely never heard of a bidet when I was in Ohio, for sure.
Oh, no. That's illegal.
I did. Did you pick this brand? Because I think I brought this up to you like a couple weeks ago.
Oh.
I was watching an episode of Kelly Clarkson, and she was talking about how when she got her show, it was on the same set where Steve Harvey used to do his show. And in her dressing room, she was like, I got to thank Steve because he left me the nicest toilet and bidet thing that has ever existed for mankind.
That's so funny. I love that. I wish we had Steve Harvey to comment on this episode. So Americans have been a little skeptical, and it is thought that Americans weren't interested in the bidet since it was a French invention, first of all, and there was a strong anti-French sentiment.
What's wrong with the French?
America and France, I don't know.
Croissants, fries.
Snobby, pretentious.
Devil Wears Prada.
It wasn't until World War II when American soldiers came to France that they ever even saw a bidet in person, and that usually happened at brothels. So when the soldiers returned back home, the perception of bidets was that they were associated with this immoral act and brothels, prostitutes, uncleanliness, ironically, and that perception stood for a very long time.
That's interesting. And they couldn't tell their wives because their wives would be like, wait, how did you see one? You were in a brothel.
Exactly.
Got it.
They used to think that if you used a bidet after intercourse, that you could actually prevent pregnancy.
Wow.
Hose out the attic.
Okay.
So let's meet a woman named Miki Agrawal. So I mentioned her in the opening. And by the way, is this our first woman-owned brand?
She started Tushy?
I swear, have we had a brand founded by a woman? I mean, we've had like women influential, but I feel like this is the first one.
I mean, of the big brands that we've talked about, yeah, they've
So
mostly
if
been.
you don't like this brand, you are sexist.
I'm gay. I can't be.
No, you're like double sexist because
Oh,
like
right.
you don't like women at all.
Whoa.
Like some guys are like, well, I don't think women should be president, but I do like their big round tits. And you're like, I don't like either.
Let's just say I'm not surprised that a woman is behind this brand.
You would love her. So she came from Indian and Japanese family, and she says that bidets were an integral part of her family's culture. And then for Valentine's Day in 2012, her husband got her a bidet attachment for their toilet. It was just like a cheap version from China. It wasn't like really fancy, but it was something that she didn't know existed, that you could have like a little, like an attachment that could turn your toilet into a bidet. When she saw it and she tried it, her first thought was, how is this not mainstream in the US? And her second thought was, how can we make it not so ugly? So at the time, she was suffering from a severe hyperthyroid condition, which made her use the restroom 8 times per day. And she said using the bidet changed everything. It made her feel so clean and more herself. And then she found out that the widespread adoption of the bidet instead of toilet paper can save millions of trees from getting flushed down the toilet every year. And then her purpose grew to create Tushy and make bidets mainstream in the US. The average American uses 57 sheets of toilet paper a day.
A day?
A day.
No way.
Alistair's jaw's on the floor. So I haven't counted my sheets. I have a feeling that Alpal uses maybe 4.
Maybe. I think 2. But I feel like I only use maybe like 14.
How many times do you pull the roll and let it spin around with reckless abandon?
I'm not reckless with TP because my landlord bought like a pretty inexpensive toilet,
Sure.
like a low flow, and
You couldn't handle like a big wad.
it clogs pretty easily.
Yeah. Al, how many sheets of toilet paper do you think you use?
Well, since I have the bidet, I use 4.
I was right. 4?
I think it's psychotic if anyone knows the exact number of squares they use.
Wow. Well, average American is at 57. And by recent estimates, bidets could save 15 million trees annually. So Jon just gestured at the TV behind me where David is watching Sideways.
Sorry, I try to be very present when you're talking, but David, before we started this episode, laid down to watch Sideways. And in my head, I have this like thing about this movie Sideways. And I remembered that there's these cards throughout the movie. I think it goes through 1 week period. And when I saw this movie in the theater, I had eaten something. I don't remember where I ate, but I had clearly gotten food poisoning that started to hit while I was watching the movie. And I just looked up, and that's why I like, these things trigger me now. And so the movie has these cards that say like Monday. And then like by Tuesday, like I had started to like sweat and like my like stomach was rumbling. And then like Wednesday, I was like, oh my God, I had like food poisoning. And then like, I was like, I have to get to a whole week of these. And like Thursday, I'm like grabbing the seat of like the movie theater, and Friday, like I had to run out. Like I didn't even make it till the end of the week. It was an awful, very triggering experience for me now when I see anything related to this movie.
Are you starting to rumble just looking at a title card that says Monday?
I am, and I can't not look at it. It's like right there. And it's so funny to me that that's what this episode is about.
Of course.
Pooping.
That's perfect timing. So
Yeah.
you don't know how Sideways ends?
I have no idea. No, I know how it ends. It's me puking in the street.
Oh, no. Oh,
I
no.
literally do think I ran out of the movie theater and puked outside.
Oh, my God. That's terrible.
Yeah.
So Miki is incredibly inspired to share bidets with as many consumers as possible. She spent a year working to raise and launch Tushy, but at the beginning of her journey with Tushy, she just had a friend who she knew was an investor, liked to invest in these kind of things. Her very first meeting on like the very first day that she decided to take this on, she raised $400,000.
Can you remind me what year we're in?
This is 2012 was when she got the bidet as a gift. So this is probably like 2013, 2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does this end up on Shark Tank? This feels very Shark Tank.
You might be thinking of the
Squatty
Potty.
Potty?
Yeah, which is also a great brand. I mean, I'm a fan
That's
of
all
both.
you,
Both are in
honey.
my current bathroom.
You can have all the poop brands. I promise you, Squatty Potty's not on my list.
Oh, man. Okay. Claimed.
Poopery, not on my list.
So investors got really excited to invest in unorthodox brands like Tushy because not only are they disrupting the status quo, but they are in a business that is basically creating a category. So it was not easy to find these bidet attachments. They weren't readily available like they are now. This is 2013, and for several years, Tushy is her side project. During that time, she was busy growing Thinks. Do you know what Thinks is? There's no reason why you should know this.
Thanks?
Thinks.
Thinks.
THINX.
I have no idea. I've never heard of
It was the first mainstream brand of period-absorbing underwear.
What did we say before this show? I was like, you're probably not going to do a food because we just said Pop-Tart and another food. I was like, you're probably going to do some like feminine thing that I know nothing about, like tampons or something. And I'm with the greasing. It's like I'm in your brain
You're
now.
You're kind of in there. We had to get really intimate.
I mean, I'm not doing any like man things.
Manscaped, the pube trimmer.
Yeah. Dude wipes. I keep getting ads for dude
What
wipes.
are dude wipes?
I think that was a Shark Tank thing. It's like basically like
Really?
wipes to like smell fresh down there when you're on the go.
Oh,
Yeah.
like before you get like
Before you hook
PJ.
up, like
Oh.
when you're like probably out in the town,
Sure.
wiping it before you.
Well, that could be useful.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Miki Agrawal. So she's an interesting gal. She's always has a giant hat on,
Oh,
like a
my-
hat bigger than you could, as big of a hat as you're imagining. I'm telling you, it's even bigger. Like Arby's hat, like beyond.
I love that.
She's somewhat kind of like spiritual. She's very creative. She's a disruptor, an entrepreneur, but she's also a very strange woman. So, for example, after she gave birth to her son, she went to Burning Man and she wore a portable breast pump while she was dancing and hopping around on dune buggies. And she would give breast milk to other festival goers. And some of them would make it into lattes, and others would just chug it right down. When she got thirsty, she would drink her own breast milk.
Chug it. How much was she making?
She's an interesting gal.
Didn't you try to get me to taste your breast milk?
I just was insulted that you weren't interested.
I think you tried to tempt me saying that you would make like artisanal ice cream from
Yeah.
your breast milk.
I mean, the garbage that you eat.
Okay.
You're telling me that my pure breast milk, organic, fresh from the tit, is more revolting than like a breakfast sandwich from Wendy's? Come on.
You know what? I was thinking about that breakfast sandwich from Wendy's last night. It was so good. I've never, because I usually will order something like that and take it home, and like I'll run an errand before I get home. By the time I
Yeah.
eat it, it's like an hour and a half later.
It's not the same.
Sitting in Wendy's with like a piping hot sausage.
You ate in Wendy's?
I did, because I had to keep going back to sort through the toys.
Oh, gosh. Oh, yeah.
That biscuit,
You took a toy break to eat a biscuit
I
sandwich.
basically was employed at Wendy's for about an hour and a half.
Oh, my God.
But that biscuit was good.
Tell everybody what the sandwich is in case they want to try it.
It's just a Wendy's sausage egg biscuit. They have several. Now we're just
Sell them on it. Maybe somebody is looking for a new breakfast.
we're just a commercial for Wendy's.
I mean, people might want to know your
Wendy's
opinions.
is new in the breakfast game as of
Yeah.
only the last couple of years, and if you haven't tried it, try it. I don't love their croissants. I don't think there is a good fast food croissant.
Wow.
Tell
No,
me one.
I would agree. Yeah.
Is there one? They all have that weird, like they're just bread shaped like a croissant. They're not like whatever. It's not a French croissant, but they're biscuits. If you get it, just like KFC, you were
Sure.
a big fan of the KFC biscuit.
Yes, I accidentally ordered. I tried to order 4 biscuits as a teenager, and they gave me 40, and I took them and went about my merry way.
This is one of the first stories Marissa ever told me. To this day, I don't believe it. Though I think at some point you did text a friend that was with
yeah.
you to confirm it, and he did. He's like, "Oh, when we got 40 biscuits," which seems like I don't know how that wasn't stopped at any point along the
and
process.
it's the kind of like lore where like it's like repeated by children for generations, and nobody at any point is like, the cashier didn't like see 4 kids and then go, wait, do you mean 4? Or say like, that'll be like $285. And I'm like, I only have 15. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
It's someone that has no idea how kids eat, and they're like, "Yeah, I guess kids probably eat 10 biscuits each."
Yeah, 10 biscuits. I mean, they're growing.
They're growing.
Yeah, growing teens. Surprisingly, this woman, Miki, her twin sister, we actually saw live
We
at Oprah's tour.
wait, no, we saw
Julianne Hough was also there.
who was stressing me out, trying to get us to dance in our seats.
Julianne Hough was there. Jennifer Lopez was there. And also Mickey's twin sister was there. And she was, remember, she has like daytime raves. Like that was her whole thing, was like morning raves. And she was also getting us to stand up and dance.
Ugh, I blocked her out. I'll have to go back and look at the tape.
It was like you, me, and 40,000 like 60-year-old women all dancing. And then in our goodie bag had like spray secret deodorant. We're all like sweating and stinky and spraying on deodorant in the forum.
Yeah, no, I don't remember her. So she's friends with Oprah?
I mean,
Because of this?
She toured with Oprah.
Wow.
She toured with Oprah. So Miki created this company, Thinx. It was the period underwear company, and it was growing so much, and it had her full attention. And then in 2017, she had to step down from the leadership position after a former employee filed yes?
What is period underwear?
So you know about like tampons.
Yeah, basically.
And you know, like a pad.
Right. Yes.
One goes in, one goes out.
Right.
So
one goes in, one goes on.
Sure.
Right. You don't still wear those like belts.
From Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. I remember being really disappointed when there was no belt.
I do like an accessory. But what? So the
vintage pad belts on eBay to add to my collection.
I just start having stuff shipped directly to the storage unit.
Let's cut out the middleman here. What are we doing?
What are these?
So it's like underwear that has some kind of special foam. Again,
here we go with the foam. Damn it.
A special foam that is incredibly absorbent and like odor proof and whatever. It's like leak proof. And so you don't have to put on a pad or a tampon. You can just like period all over your underwear and it doesn't get on your white jean shorts.
Why did I ask?
Really? Why did you ask?
Why did I ask? Because it was just stuck in my mind. I feel like some people, we're an informative comedy show, and this seems like it was funny.
You might be coming across as terribly old-fashioned for the Gen Z listeners.
I do feel very Frasier in this episode. My gosh.
You are definitely. This is like knowing you personally, the things that you feel comfortable talking about and sharing. And if I say like at the utterance of like period or like bidet, you're like clutching your pearls and like gasping into your hanky.
It is true. I do. Off mic, I can be a little more blue.
We'll see how it goes behind the paywall. We'll see if people are willing to fork over $5 to $8 per month.
Yeah, this might go with the Patreon. My friend used to say that I had the face of a cherub and the mouth of a street whore.
I do find that to be true.
Yeah.
So she had to step down from her company, the period underwear company, because a former employee filed a complaint alleging that Miki engaged in inappropriate behavior, including touching the employee's breasts and FaceTiming them from the toilet.
Oh my God.
She's an interesting woman.
Now, what is your stance on phone calls from the toilet? Like, have you ever...
If it's like, I'm trying to get the doctor to call me back, like we keep missing each other, finally they call, I happen to already be on the toilet, then sure, I'll pick it up. But I'm certainly not going to flush.
No, you never flush. I will pee, but I hit that. I will say that one of my favorite features on the iPhone is that mute button, because it really just cuts out all sound. So like someone can be talking, you hit that pee, they don't even know that you've muted them. It's beautiful.
They don't know that while they're speaking, there's a thunderous stream pummeling into a toilet bowl.
Exactly. And then you don't finish when they're done talking, and you're like, oh God, you have to like lock it up real quick and then hit that button and be like, and then hit it back and let the stream go. It's quite a dance.
That sounds really exciting. I don't really get to have that because my peas are maybe a little bit more quiet, a little more, sensible.
Controlled.
A little more controlled. So she's had her little touch of scandal. She's described as like a tech bro, but a girl. That's how she was described in one article. So she has kind of an interesting sensibility. So this like FaceTiming from a toilet and like grabbing people's boobs kind of is in line maybe with that.
Is it just everyone that runs a company and gets in power like has to like have this shady side of them?
And is she just like walking and be like, hey gals, how are the panties selling? Honk honk. What is she doing? How does that come up? I'm going to be in the can. Take my meeting from the toilet.
She's giving wedgies.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
It is so weird.
I've never heard of this type of personality with a woman.
I think it's like the same kind of like wild, mad genius that like gets people to like rise to this position of power. This like kind of unbridled confidence that it's going to work out for them is the same kind of people that might like honk somebody's breasts in the workplace.
And people believe in her mission so much that they're willing to put up with it.
Absolutely.
She gave me a $2 a week raise. I guess I have to let her honk my titties.
My bonus was a pair of panties.
If you work here 5 years, you get a free bidet.
That she denied the allegations. I should say on the record that she denied the allegations. They settled it confidentially. She put the crisis behind her and she's looking to devote her full attention to growing her bidet company, Tushy. So this is in 2017, the year that I happened to get a Tushy.
Wow.
So I got her like fresh off the scandal. So the Tushy bidet is a bidet attachment that clips onto most standard toilets. If it's in between the seat and the bowl, it takes, they say, 8 minutes to set up. Did it take 8 minutes to set up, babe? No, he's watching sideways.
He's watching. I think we're on Wednesday. I'm going to have to run in just about 10 minutes.
I feel like when David was, because we just got a new one today because we'd had ours since 2017. I got a brand new one today.
Why didn't you give me your 8-year-old one?
You want my rusty old used bidet?
How much are they? I feel like I've searched them on Amazon before and they're like $15, but there's probably a lot of like imitation ones.
Sure, there's a lot of cheap versions. The original model of the Tushy costs $65. They have a range. The base model is like $65. It doesn't require a plumber or any special equipment, so it's very like DIY friendly. It comes in 2 models, a single temperature bidet, so that will just be whatever temperature your tap water is, and a bidet that can connect to a water line, allowing for dual temperatures so you can have hot water as well. And I gotta say, on a cold winter's night, that water is pretty cold coming straight at your booty hole.
I bet. Yeah. So did you get the upgrade this time?
Your toilet has to be next to your sink to be able to get like access to the hot water. So I'm still just at tap water temp, but you know, in LA, it's not a problem. If you're like your pipes were freezing and it was like ice shooting out, that might be a bit tricky. But
why don't you just like microwave like a mug of water and just dribble that down your crack?
It certainly would be cheaper.
It'd be a lot cheaper.
And more fun. So in 2017, as I said, I bought a Tushy. The marketing must have worked. The branding, if you've ever seen it, is extremely well done. Like the design, and I see what she's talking about. If you look at other models on Amazon or whatever kind of $15 ones you're seeing, the design of the Tushy, it's very seamless. They wanted it to look like an iPhone in your bathroom.
Oh my gosh.
Which is funny that like looking like an iPhone has just become like ubiquitous to represent like clean, sleek, minimal design. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what they were going for. It's pretty seamless. It blends in with like your toilet pretty nicely. It looks pretty chic.
What does the logo look like? I'm picturing like bubble letters and the S kind of looks like buns.
Like a turd.
No, the S looks like a butt and it's kind of like does a little like like a little dance.
You know what? It's a pretty. It's like a cool modern. I feel like it's an Instagram brand. Do you know what I mean when I say that? Where it's like it's
you mean a TikTok brand, but you don't get on TikTok on your older social media.
Exactly.
So
it's like a Facebook brand.
Reminds me a lot of MySpace.
Exactly. So it seems to be targeting like millennials, and it has that kind of branding that you would associate with like a cool millennial brand. It's very like silly, goofy, very very punny in their in their marketing. By 2019, they've raised nearly $4 million from investments. And let's talk about Tushy and how they're setting themselves apart from the pack. They have an annual event called ButtCon.
God damn it.
Which is an all-day extravaganza for all things butt. So that's talks from doctors on digestive health, colonicists. Who performs colonics? Colonists.
I'm just gonna let you go with this.
Personal trainers who can specialize in like getting your booty popping, twerking classes.
A plug table.
I mean, honestly, they had a DIY anal bead station.
DIY? Like make your own beads?
I guess so.
Wow.
I'm not putting anything in my butt that's a DIY.
No. Well. Again.
They had an ad rejected by the MTA New York City for being too risque, which is something they kind of lean into there. And it was the same kind of marketing for things that they're trying to like push the envelope and be kind of subversive. And that is very much in line with this founder, Miki, with like her attitude. I mean, she's somebody who like chugs breast milk at Burning Man. So it's like, imagine her company, what it would be like.
Please tell me that one of their taglines is we're a little cheeky.
I'm sure it's in there.
I mean, if it's not, I'm writing to them tomorrow.
I don't know that they exactly use that, but like the email that I got for like my Tushy had arrived today from the mail. The subject is your shipment has arrived.
Ew, mine's so cute and theirs is so gross.
It's a lot like that, a lot of that stuff. And like they had to send an email that said need to trouble poot instead of troubleshoot.
That's rough, man. I am going to write them tomorrow. Cheeky is like so good and so obvious. We're a bit cheeky.
A bit cheeky. You should start a rival bidet company.
Leaky cheeky. There's
Ew.
oh yeah, probably not that.
So then 2020, 2 big events. First one I mentioned earlier, we saw Oprah live, which was huge.
That was incredible.
It was that when Oprah fell on stage.
Mm-hmm. And COVID.
And COVID. Both.
Oh, it really is?
Well, yeah.
No, I know. For some reason, I thought that we just weren't going to get into COVID on the brand. How did COVID affect the brand?
But well, many essentials are in short supply during COVID, including
the cheek. Oh,
toilet paper.
Right.
Catch up.
I
Where
know.
are you?
Listen, I know.
Do you still have an eye on sideways?
No,
Do you need a
I'm
minute?
still thinking about those period panties. No, okay, toilet paper. I will never forget, and this is Dean is going to like that he's getting a shout out on this. We call him Big Dean, not for that reason.
Why do you call him Big Dean?
Because there was 2 Deans in the office. One of them was like a smaller guy, and Dean was a bigger guy.
It's a shame that like, did you call him Little Dean?
Yeah, Big Dean and Little Dean.
It's funny, like if Little Dean is just kind of like a regular size guy, but now he's getting called Little Dean.
I mean, they're both kind of just regular sized guys, but like Big Dean was the boss and Little Dean like worked, there was a bunch of different reasons. Anyway, I remember Dean texting our little group and saying Costco's out of toilet paper. And in my head, I was like, you're an idiot. Like, you don't even know how to shop for toilet paper. There's no way anyone's out of toilet paper. And I like went to Target like that night and I still have footage of it. I was like, holy shit, they're out of like, I got goosebumps because it was so, you forget we've now lived through 4 years of this pandemic, but that moment when like everything was just gone was so like jarring.
It was very like zombie movie.
Very A Quiet Place.
A movie you've seen
Twice in the last month. I love that franchise.
Yeah, that was a wild time. So there were toilet paper shortages that hit the United States during the lockdowns in spring of 2020. And another industry blew up, which was the bidet business. So James Lynn, founder of bidetking.com, says you couldn't get a bidet if you wanted to.
I don't. So I'm good.
They were all sold out. There was a huge scramble to get more. So people are kind of starting to see like, oh, toilet paper is in short supply. What's our alternative? What's something that's not going to run out? Let's all get bidets.
I am fascinated with the show, like some of the things we've learned about like World War II and with the pandemic of like how they affected like different brands.
For sure.
I remember with like Yankee Candle, if you haven't listened to that one, do you remember how there was like people were like, Mike, your Yankee candles don't smell good anymore. And it's because so many people had lost their sense of smell.
Exactly. Like, yes, Summer Breeze would get like 1 star on YankeeCandle.com because of like COVID.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Wild.
I mean, that makes perfect sense that sales would skyrocket. This would be one of the businesses that would thrive during this time.
But then something interesting happened. While the toilet paper returned to the shelves, first-time bidet owners went from reluctant skeptics to true believers, evangelizing to family and friends and trying to help the United States catch up with the rest of the world on bidet use. So this is exactly what we're seeing with Al. My mom gave Al a bidet. Al gave 2 other people bidets. This is what happens to bidet people.
And yet I still have no bidet. Bobo, for this Christmas, I would like a bidet.
At least try mine and like it.
I feel weird using someone else's bidet.
Which is funny because they're in public restrooms. Like internationally, they're in public restrooms. So like I would feel kind of weird about that too, but it is like, that's how it is in other countries.
I guess you're not probably touching. It's the same as touching like the handle.
It doesn't go up your butt.
What?
What am I paying for?
Well, forget it, Bobo. I do not want a bidet.
Roseanne Orgill, who lives outside Salt Lake City, bought 3 bidet attachments for her toilets in spring of 2020. Her husband had traveled quite a bit and often talked about how wonderful bidets are and how weird it is that America doesn't have them because there's really no other way to clean yourself. So with the supply of toilet paper dwindling, she saw bidet advertisements and decided to take the plunge. She says, I just love them now. I don't know how people survive without them. Ryan Deitch felt compelled by the threat of running out of TP to think about alternatives. Growing up in Florida, he experienced the stress of toilet paper shortages during hurricane season when his family would stockpile rolls in case they sold out. And then when the pandemic happened, he began reevaluating his life choices. He's saying, are the things that we're doing, is this necessarily the right way or the best way, or are there other ways? He remembers asking himself, people really started to rethink parts of their day-to-day, and in the case of myself and many others, we bought bidets. And he calls himself an absolute fan. He loves that they cut down on his toilet paper usage, saves him money, lessens his environmental impact. He feels cleaner. So what is it that you hate? Is it having a clean butt or the earth?
No, come on. Don't do that. You know what I like, though? Like, for people like me, we are the ones that will get it free because I just have to surround myself with people that are like, they're like the first triers. And they're like, oh my God, you've got to try it. And then they start giving them out as gifts. Like, I think I'm in a better position.
Oh, how so?
Because I do feel like someone's eventually going to give me a bidet.
Sydney Cano of Arlington, Virginia says, no exaggeration, my life was literally changed by a bidet. I can't live without mine now. Realistically, I will never go through the rest of my life without using mine. I have a travel one, so I am never without it.
What's a travel one? A squirt gun?
It kind of is like a squirt gun.
I'm clean. Cool. At a Motel 8. Sounds good.
Despite the wave of new converts, though, the United States still lags far behind many other countries when it comes to bidet ownership. Americans, meanwhile, lead the world per capita toilet paper usage.
Yeah, we do a lot of things.
So the average
wrong.
American uses 50 rolls of toilet paper a year. about one a week.
Wow.
Al is shocked. He's shaking his head in disgust.
Do you buy that toilet paper? Have you noticed like toilet paper, like how they explain size? Like I use Scott toilet paper and it's always like 12 rolls, but it's really like 14, which is like 68 rolls. And it's like all these numbers across the thing.
Eventually it's just going to be one roll the size of a semi-truck tire that you roll into your house. They're going to be like one roll has the power of 400 rolls and it won't fit in your bathroom. It won't fit on the little hook.
They have those. You've been at those places where like on the wall, there's just like a giant Parmesan cheese-sized roll, and it is always the thinnest toilet.
God.
Like you start to, it's like playing Operation. I start to pull it so softly, hoping it won't rip, and it's always like, and I get one square, and it makes me so mad. And then you have to like stick your hand up in there.
I hate that. Our house is old, so like our toilet paper roll, it's kind of like it goes in like a notch in the wall, and who knows how long it's been there. It could have been since the 20s. So these like big Costco American shitting machine rolls, it doesn't fit in this little nook. So like for the first like 5 days, it is that game where you have to do a tiny little tug to squeeze it out before it's like, and then you're just like, your day's ruined.
Oh my God, I hate it. Here's my question. And this is a question that's been debated by people all over the world for a long time.
Yeah.
You still do use toilet paper. Do you have yours come over or under?
I don't feel as strongly about it as some people do.
You don't have a preference.
I find under to be, I think it looks better. I think it looks tidier. And I think it's about maybe 10% more annoying.
Under?
Under is. So I would have a slight preference for over just for the annoyance factor. Alistair seems to have a strong opinion.
Over is the only way to do it. Under makes no sense. And if I see a roll that is underslung, I will instantly judge the house that I'm in, and I'll probably change it.
I only do under. I would never do over. Over to me reminds me of like a hotel. Like I'm supposed to fold it into a point. It pulls so much easier when it's under. You guys are psychotic.
Wow. Okay.
This is how this whole thing has been going for 12 years. Marissa, Alistair, David on one side, Jon on the other side.
Over or under toilet paper, babe?
Over only.
Over only. He says, fully covered in a blanket, laying down, eyes nearly closed, watching sideways.
They like every TV show the same amount. They do everything the same. And then Johnny Different comes in and shakes things up.
You're a real disruptor. You should go to Burning Man.
I'm going to use your restroom real quick.
This is really shocking. We'll have to put this to a vote. I'm curious what the listeners' preferences are.
I have been wondering how all of our listeners display their toilet paper.
I am curious. Is that sad that I am?
No, let's do a poll.
We'll do a poll. About 8 in 10 Japanese households, for example, have toilet bidet combo. So this is very common everywhere else, but here, just 6% of U.S. adults have a bidet in their home.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like America's behind the trend on a lot of things. That doesn't surprise me. We'll get there, and then we'll act like we invented it.
Well, I'll tell you, because 41% of Americans are interested in owning one. No one asked me. No one asked you.
12% of Americans have drawn pictures of a bidet.
Miki Agrawal says the Tushy saw 5-fold revenue growth during 2020 that still hasn't flattened. In fact, she says revenue has continued to increase 20% year over year ever since. She sees the toilet paper shortage as the push that helped the bidet curious finally take the leap. And for years, companies like hers have been laying the groundwork, making the case to the marketplace that toilet paper is less hygienic and more expensive. It can exacerbate chronic conditions like urinary tract infections and hemorrhoids. The first time we've said the word hemorrhoids on the show, wow, in 70-something episodes. That's pretty cool.
Bully for you, man. You're getting a lot of first in here. I've never had hemorrhoids, and I use toilet paper. I do, and we're also in a state where we're often in a drought. How does that come into play?
It uses less water it's like about a liter of water to use a bidet, and it's like many more to produce toilet paper.
You almost impressed me until your stats were many
Hang
more.
on, let me
but
find it.
I believe you're
I saw
probably
it.
right. I'm sure it's more.
37 gallons of water to make a single roll of toilet paper. How about that?
It takes 37 gallons and only a pint to use a bidet?
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Okay, so you don't care about water. You don't care about the drought. You like your butt to be dirty. We're learning a lot about you.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I do wish that you needed a plumber to install it. I don't. It's not a big selling point to me that I am the plumber.
You'd rather have a plumber come over to your house?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. What do you have in mind? Get a peek at that little coin slot in the back.
Yeah. I mean, a little peek, a little something different in my apartment.
When the plumber comes over, are you wearing like a pink robe, pretending like you just got out of the shower, like you forgot he was coming?
Yes, and I'm just clutching the top of it. Oh, trying not to show my bosoms. Ask him if he wants a glass of my breast milk. I'm just kidding. It's almond milk.
So they have sold over 2 million bidets and growing, and Tushy's helped divert over 5 million trees from getting flushed down the toilet.
Listen, I do see the benefit of it. I do think that is great. I feel like in 100 years, it'll seem insane that we use paper to like clean ourselves.
Well, and that's their argument is like, if you got bird poop on your arm, like, would you wipe it off with a paper towel, or would you want to like rinse it off with water and soap?
Or lick it. Like, there's so many different ways to get it off of there. And don't you love that people are like, oh, no, that's good luck. Like anything like that's gross, they've like decided, oh, no, that's good luck.
A bird pooping on your head.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like something like somebody said to one person one time. Like if somebody was having the worst day of their life.
Yeah.
Like they just got broken up with, they just got dumped, and then a bird pooped on their head, and it was like, no, it's good luck.
That is so, you were so lucky.
I am so jealous of you.
If I had only been standing a foot closer to that bird.
I think that's what it was, and then it just kind of
yeah.
ran away with it. So Tushy is not our biggest, most popular, most well-known. It's no Apple. It's no Levi's. But this is a brand that I think should be on your radar if you've ever used a bidet. Maybe you're curious. Maybe a friend of yours has a bidet and they say it's changed their life. I encourage you to go ahead and give it a try. I just got my new Tushy, first one replaced since 2017. They have a few new features that I wanted to try out, and they're easier to clean now. So I'm excited about it. I tested it out today, and gotta say, never felt fresher.
I don't feel clean.
Jon, I am begging you to go sit on this toilet and shoot a stream of water at your booty.
I don't know. I do feel like I need to try my own before I use someone else's. What I love about this whole episode is that now there will be some listeners that will now try a bidet. We've had people try fillet of fishes because of us and other things. So someone will write us and be like, I got it. And now any of the people listening to the show, when they use a bidet, are going to be thinking about you.
That's why I do this show, baby.
Just picture Marissa's face.
Listen to this episode on your phone while you're sitting using your bidet, and then the circle of life is complete.
And then have a work Zoom.
Savenya! Sibero!
Oh my gosh.
Whew, we made it, Jon. You survived. That was the Tushy bidet episode.
That's it? There's no more to learn?
It's a new company with a pretty short history, and they're growing every year as the word gets out about how incredible bidets are.
You know what I heard about them? They're a little bit cheeky.
I've heard that too.
Did you get your shipment? Good Lord. I want to call them tonight and wake them up. You guys, we've got to talk about this now.
They would love that you hate it. That's kind of like what they're leaning into.
Well, we'll put it on their social media.
That's great.
How fun. I mean, as much as I don't like talking about pee-pee and poo-poo, I did learn some fun things, and I think we're just a little bit loopier when we do these late night shows.
It kind of worked well for it to being like an after dark husband on the couch watching Sideways.
Yeah, we're going to be
kids in bed
for the next month just to keep people informed. We're banking about a month's worth of episodes because Alistair's going to be traveling, so we want to get them all locked in before he goes.
Well, let's clarify.
What?
He's going to be hiking to Everest Base Camp.
Oh, yeah.
If you weren't already impressed by his prudent toilet paper usage or his closet with perfectly lined up little shirts, he's also going to be hiking to Everest Base Camp.
Wait, hold on. That just made me think of something that I need to look up before we continue. You're going for... Okay, so according to my calculations, this is a rough calculations. You're going to need 84 squares of toilet paper for this trip. So be sure to put those in the old backpack.
Oh, great.
With some granola bars. Well, listen, Mar, this was a very fun brand. You always surprise me with what you pick, and I did have a lot of fun with this one.
It was
so
good.
now we have to ask you the question we ask, which I already know the answer to, obviously. Is Tushy on brand or off brand for you?
Tushy is so on brand for me. I was originally captivated by their, sure, I'll say cheeky marketing, their cute branding. I like how chic the bidet looked. I didn't even think a bidet could be chic, but I was captivated by that. And now the only Tushy on my Tushy is the Tushy brand bidet.
No. I mean, it's like you already work with their marketing team. It's like terrible.
I paid for this out of pocket. I should be getting a free Tushy.
That is true.
If they send me a free one, I'll give it to you.
Oh, okay.
And then I will ask you, John, is Tushy on brand for you?
You know, I think for this one, I'm going to put a pin in it. I am intrigued by it. From a branding point of view, I'm very dismayed by some of the things you've mentioned, the shipments, like some of their, I don't think they're there yet.
Okay.
I do appreciate their mission. I think what they're trying to do is good. I think using less paper is great. If it's using less water, as a Californian, I know that that's super important for us. So I am undecided. I will decide at some point when I actually use the product. I feel like it's going to be a thumbs up. But right now, just to have something different, I'm going to put a pin in it.
Okay, great. I will accept that, and I look forward to you updating your review.
Sounds good.
And before we go, I'd love to give some shout outs to some lovely listeners who left us reviews on Apple Podcasts. So we have DHeight22, we have JF05BK. What are you, a robot? We're the perfect hosts, and we have a great dynamic.
Aw.
Can you believe that? KSHDNIF wants to hear every item that's in your storage unit.
I mean, there's a lot in there. The fascination with this storage unit, guys, it's insanity.
Eric Swar gave us a nice review, and Snap Whale, 5 stars plus variants for 4 out of the 5 stars. That's a reference to the Wendy's Frosty.
Oh, right. The variant collecting, which I still have 3 to get.
Have you gotten any more since we last talked?
I haven't. I actually went to Wendy's once since then, but I was too embarrassed to ask.
That's good. That's the right instinct.
That's how it should be. I want to give out shout outs to the winners of our Levi's Insta Egg this week. The Insta Egg was a half a picture of Beyonce and a half a picture of Post Malone. It was pretty simple. You just had to do a Google search of those 2 names and you would have come up with the song Levi Jeans. A lot of people guessed Stetson because they both had hats on. One person guested losing my mind.
It's late.
One person guessed Post Country Squares, which was a callback to Pop-Tarts, which I thought was really cute. That was Dave Caslin. And then the winners. Oh, and then 2 people wrote me and confessed they got it right and then confessed that they cheated to get it right and confessed to me. It's okay to cheat. It's okay to Google. You can do anything you want to get the answer.
Phone a friend.
You can guess more than once.
Sure.
I want you to get it. I'm on your side. I give people clues when they write me and get it wrong. So the winners this week were Zoe Welch, Michael Roberts, Hungry for Danish, Michelle Brown, and Alex R. So congratulations. You get a big shout out and no prize.
Thank you for playing. And if you want to participate in John's Insta Egg, you can go to @OnBrandThePod on Instagram and @OnBrandThePodcast on TikTok. There you can see, as I said, his Insta Eggs. You can see videos from the show. You can chat with us there. We love to hear from you guys. And with that, we will be back next week with an all-new episode.
And as we always like to say, we may go off topic, but we will always be on brand.
Bye.
Bye.
If you're looking to streamline your audio advertising buys and maximize your revenue, look no further than Triton Digital's programmatic audio advertising exchange, A2X. The private exchange consists of only licensed broadcasters and top-tier internet radio publishers, assuring the quality inventory and brand safety you can trust. Visit www.tritondigital.com to learn more.